So everybody remembers Power Rangers' first movie, right? The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie. But in my opinion, that wasn't that good. So today we're talking about a better movie, in my opinion at least, Turbo, a Power Rangers movie. And we'll also be talking about a subsequent series, Power Rangers Turbo, and pretty much just to get straight to the point, where did the turbo powers come from and like all their appearances. Kind of similar to what I did in I think it was last week's video. Well, 2 weeks ago, the last video, which was how did the alien rangers get their powers. So yeah, without further ado, let's get on into it. While the first Power Rangers movie didn't take place in the mainstream universe, the next movie Power Rangers would make would. But it would kind of act as a pilot for the next season, Power Rangers Turbo, and we all know that season wasn't exactly received the best. But in my opinion, the movie was pretty good. It had everything: Power Rangers, evil space aliens, not to be confused with those evil space aliens, returning Rangers, and of course, a Kid Ranger. Yes, during the movie, we are introduced to Justin Stewart, a friend of Catherine and Tanya. He is probably friends with Rocky as well, since his reaction to Rocky's fall is kind of like, so yeah, Rocky takes a fall and ends up breaking his back, and he's taken to the hospital. Justin comes to visit him when the other Rangers arrive, and he hides under the bed for some reason. The Rangers are called away and teleport to the power chamber, but Justin sees this. Rocky is shocked that Justin is there, not having seen him since he was still passed out, and Justin is just as shocked as Rocky is. Then the Rangers go on an adventure to rescue Larigo, before the new villain team, Divatox and her pirate crew, yes, they are pirates, can get him. The Rangers rescue him, but we learn that Divatox not only has Larigo's wife and child, but two of the Rangers' friends, Jason and Kimberly. The Rangers attempt a trade, Larigo for Jason and Kim. They give him up, but Divatox tricks them, and she gets all three of them. The Rangers then have to race Divatox to an island in the Nemesis Triangle, but they need new powers to get there, so Zordon grants them the Turbo powers, replacing their Zeo powers, which may or may not have been destroyed, but that's for a different video. In this video, we will be answering a question many Power Rangers fans have asked for years. Where did the Turbo powers come from? And I think I have an answer for that. So during Zeo, Billy is seen disappearing throughout the Gold Ranger arc, during the time in which the Rangers did not know the Gold Ranger's identity. Many fans believe he was creating the Turbo powers, with Zordon having asked him since eventually the Zeo powers would grow too powerful for the Rangers, similar to how the Gold Zeo Ranger powers are too powerful for Jason to handle during the later part of Zeo. By the end, him even having his life on the line while he keeps the powers. Many fans believe that Billy based the powers off of the Zeo powers, since Billy didn't really, have any experience making them, with them having the same color scheme and built for the Zeo Rangers. Billy not knowing that Rocky would hurt his back and be replaced by Justin. Presumably, Billy wasn't able to finish these powers, with him going Aquatar after the crossover Rangers of Two Worlds. Alpha probably finished these powers, having a little more experience, and built them into the kiosk thing that the Rangers used at the beginning of the movie. However, this isn't the end of the Turbo Power story, as eventually these powers would trade hands, going from Tommy, Catherine, Adam, and Tanya to TJ, Cassie, Carlos, and Ashley, respectively. During the two-parter Passing the Torch, the Turbo Rangers are fighting Divatox's latest monster, but at the same time, they have to hurry to pass their powers on to the next people, but they also haven't chosen their successors yet. Until Tommy and Kat meet TJ and Cassie, who rescue Tommy. Carlos and Ashley had previously been seen in the show once or twice, but they didn't really get that much spotlight until this two-parter. The Rangers are in a rush for some reason, with there even being like an hourglass representing their time. I've theorized for a long time that the Rangers eventually fixed the Millennium Message from Blue Centurion and saw that TJ, Cassie, Carlos, and Ashley were the ones who defeated the United Alliance of Evil, though they probably also saw Xenia and Andros not having any idea who they were at all. They needed to hurry to transfer the powers, otherwise the future would change and they might lose the fight against the United Alliance of Evil. But that's just my theory. Now, onto my other theory. Once these powers transferred, the Turbo Rangers would continue to fight Divatox, even gaining two new vehicles, Lightning Cruiser and Storm Blaster, which are based off the red and blue Turbo powers. However, where they came from is not known, and their relationship to the Turbo powers is also not known. Also, a question I've always had: Why didn't they reuse the turbo cars again? Like, remember how the Zords would become actual cars? Like in the movie, they had the whole thing to where they loaded the cars up into the boat, and then the boat blew up, but they were seen in their cars coming out of it. Like, why didn't they do that again? They only did that once in the TV show, in the episode Bicycle Built for Blue, and only Lightning, or not Lightning Cruiser, the red turbo car was there. Like, none of the other ones. And it's the only time it ever appears. Just, like, the writers just completely forgot about it. I don't know. Anyway, I've gone off track. The Rangers continue to fight Divatox until the end of the series, where Divatox destroys the power chamber and captures Lightning Cruiser and Stormblaster. The explosion from the power chamber also destroys the Rangers' turbo powers. Presumably, the kiosk was destroyed, and since that was their main connection to the morphing grid for the turbo powers, the powers were gone. After the turbo powers were lost, the Rangers head into space, minus Justin, where they meet Andros, gain the new space powers, but that's a story for another time yet again. The next time we see the powers is in True Blue to the Rescue, in Power Rangers in Space, where Justin returns to help the captured Space Rangers. He receives help from the freshly escaped Stormblaster, and inside the car, he finds the new Turbomorpher, presumably not linked to the kiosks the previous powers were. Thinking about it now, actually, Billy might have come across Lightning Cruiser and Stormblaster on his like journeys in Aquitar or in space or something. And he was like, "Hey, those are really cool powers. I should actually build more of them." So he recreated Red and Blue, and he was like, "Oh, I can build the powers for Green, Pink, and Yellow." So actually, I just thought of that. That might actually be a pretty cool theory. Anyway, Justin helps the Space Rangers escape and destroy Astronom's monster. The Space Rangers and Justin also rescue Lightning Cruiser from Divatox, and they all ride away into, well, not the sunset, just kind of into space. The Turbo Powers would then appear again 3 more times, once during the team up Forever Red, where TJ returns with them, presumably with the same kind of morpher Justin had, since he shows up in Lightning Cruiser. He would help the 10 Red Rangers fight off the remnants of the Machine Empire. Once defeated, TJ would not use those powers again, but the general turbo powers do appear 2 more times. Once in, legendary battle with all the Rangers ever. Though the Blue Turbo Ranger is really the only one who like could appear, because you know you had Tommy and with the his original team, you had Catherine, Adam, Tanya, and Rocky, as the Zeo Rangers, is even shown that Zeo Ranger 5 is not a part of Legendary Battle, unless you include the archive footage from Gokaiger. And then, in Space Rangers, they had Carlos, Ashley, TJ, and Cassie, so they couldn't be the Turbo Rangers. The only answer for that is that they were the Robo Rangers, but they were presumably destroyed on Eltard when the United Lines of Evil raided it and stole Zordon. But speaking of the Robo Rangers are one of 2 copies of the Turbo Powers. They were created on Eltar by Zordon and Alpha 5, presumably being controlled by the normal Turbo Rangers. While they can call on the Turbo Powers, they cannot use them at the same time as the other Turbo Rangers, and they were presumably destroyed when the United Lines of Evil attacked Eltar, but never confirmed. There is also one other copy of the Turbo Powers, that being the Shadow Rangers, which are copies of the Turbo Powers created by the Chromite, not to be confused with those Chromites. They wear the same suits as the main Turbo Rangers, but their helmets are gray versions of the normal ones. And we never see a red Shadow Ranger, as Tommy is never captured. And a fun fact about this, actually, both of the teams have copies. Like, you had the first team, they had Shadow Rangers, and the second team had the Robo Rangers. Tommy's the only one who never got one, and Justin got 2. But finally, the last appearance of the Turbo Powers, Dimensions in Danger, where Cat appears and uses her pink Turbo Powers alongside 9 other legendary Rangers in the Ninja Steel Rangers. Tommy also had the ability to use his Turbo Powers with his Master Morpher, though he never uses them actually in the crossover. He only uses it in the comic book Soul of the Dragon. But again, that's a different story. And that's it. That's the history of the Turbo Powers, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have enjoyed. This video was very fun for me to make. I like revisiting, Turbo and like doing this research because I have not watched Turbo in a while. So it was fun to research it. It was fun to, look back and how like it, how Zeo kind of built up to it, which wasn't really at all, but how you can theorize it was. But, that's just for fun. And I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe down below so I know you did enjoy it. And yeah, that's all I got. So I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.